you could take under the goals. You've got to decide what is going to move your club forward. You got to do what is going to work in your club to begin to really move forward. Now, for some clubs, that may be something in all 6 of these. For other clubs, that might be taking maybe 2 of these. But whatever is going to move your club forward, I am not asking every single club. I do not expect every single club to double your membership and do all these other things. But it also is indicating what is your continuity of leadership, so that just like we talked about yesterday, we built upon what Jonathan provided, what Harry has provided. We're moving this district forward collectively, and it's really Rotary that we're moving forward, 1 year at a time. Does that help with that?
Yeah, I think so. But I worry a little bit about,
Overwhelming people.
Well, there's 50 some presidents, and they're doing a 1-year shot at this, and the fire hydrant is like coming at them full throttle with all these log on, and you got to go on and update this and update that. I mean, it's like, I just feel like, I mean, I'm not against this. I'm just saying, I feel like if there's, pick 3 or something.
Yes.
And then let's move on the 3 so that we're not like beating our heads, when we do this stuff.
Right.
And we have to remember, we're not alone in this work.
Right.
We're not the only ones who are going to be doing it. We can be doing this as, if Andrew, you're right near us here in Reston, I would be perfectly interested. I would be very interested, in fact, and I think Sheila's tried to facilitate this with our little group, to have various presidents all to get together and we can work together on these goals. Each of our clubs are unique, but we all have very similar work to be done.
Right.
That's great. Great idea.
Thank you, Peter. That's a good suggestion. And additionally, Andrew, in terms of entering everything, remember that we said all the way through CPETS, we are not expecting you as the president to do all of this, but we do want you to have enough of a understanding of what the several things that a club needs to do so that you can make it clear to your secretary, to your treasurer, to whomever it is, what the essence and importance of the job is for them to do for you and for the club. So
I took this as a slide for the district. I think that we want to own this to a large degree as president, but this is more of a district slide to me, so that we can explain it, what the goals of the district are. And then within that, and this is what I hear you say, Pat, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that we would prioritize based on our ability to act on this and communicate all the 6 things that we would like to accomplish as a district. And then whatever priorities we have in our own club, drive those home. That's how
correct.
I took it.
Yes, exactly. Because for your club, you may pick 3 and 4. Another club may pick 1 and 2. Another club may pick, a different combination. And we talked about this, about preparing goals. And when we looked at using 3, you're really locking clubs into, but we already do a lot on that. So what do I do? So it really is what combination of however many or however few goals is going to work for your club. And this is, if you will, the suggested menu for this year collectively for all of us, so that we can move Rotary forward. Does that help everybody?
I think, yes, it does. And I know for our club satellite group, I know that membership is definitely a large focus for us in my vision going forward. But I do also see that in the other numbers that there is room for those via our committees. Our committees are actually doing, doing this type of work on an ongoing basis, regardless, is whether or not it's the major club initiative. We don't have to feel like we're abandoning the others. There's a little bit of all of it happening at any time.
Okay. All right. Well, I think this conversation is great, and it's particularly terrific as a predicate for going into the break rooms. Let's just go quickly through the foundation, leadership, and our service project slides. Okay, so we obviously want to give more to do more good in the world, and that is both at home and, as I said, in the world. Understand, I think you saw yesterday and also the session that Lori did for us in CPETS, that a portion of our foundation monies that go to the annual share fund will be shared back with the district. And that is exactly where we get our funds for district grants and the giving level. The more that Rotarians and our Rotary clubs give, the more money we have to give back to clubs in terms of DDF. The lowest amount that we've had, at least in my tenure, has been, I think, $2,100. We are hoping that next year we will be able to keep the $3,000 level. And that is because clubs were generous in their giving. And we do understand that, you know, the financial crisis from 2007, 2008 had an impact. And of course, COVID is going to have some level of an impact. We also want to make sure that you're really getting your members on Rotary Direct. And the beauty of Rotary Direct is you, the member, control what you give, how much you give. You can decide that's going to be something every month and a particular amount. You can give more or less depending upon your circumstances. You can create an additional special contribution one time, if you will, to a particular thing. And we want to make sure, as we talked about, next slide, that you do make sure that our upcoming foundation education programs, which will be in April, for A, the foundation generally and the changes that we're having, and then B, the district grants program, that you as the PEs are able to attend and assure that your club, TRF chairs, and anyone that manages any type of grant activity, whether it is a district or a global grant, are in attendance for those. Unfortunately, a lot of our clubs have very involved and very fine people as TRF chairs, but the problem is they haven't been to an education program in a long time. And the foundation has made some changes over the years. The reason I want the club to identify your giving to annual share and Polio Plus and have those monies in by June 1 and encourage your members to have their donations in by June 10th is so that will all be attributed to your year correctly. Once you start getting past June 15th, that is when the floodgates open up at Evanston. And under legal requirements, Evanston can only process all of the donations they get for your year up until June 15th of the next year. And once on June 16th, they will continue to process those donations, but they have to be attributed to the next Rotary fiscal year. And we talked about the different giving. And so wherever your club is, wherever your members are, certainly, we want to be able to have them continue their giving at those levels. And then hopefully you can encourage some more people. And the direct method is great. You can give $10 a month and voila, by the end of the year, you've given $120. And remember, I told you 60% of all contributions come, and this is from RI, into RI foundation are under $1,000. So all sums are are welcome. Next slide, and I think, okay, so we want you to stretch. Next slide. And I believe we're into Debbie's presentation, correct?
Correct.
Dr. Debbie, you are up for leadership. Thank you.
Sure. Well, as soon as, good morning, everyone. As soon as the slides come up, we'll kind of move quickly through them. Hope you all had a wonderful time in the opening session. She was amazing. So there's a lot for us to look forward to. Well, while they're getting the slides queued up, I just want to open with, we've heard a lot over the past day or so. And so none of it means a lot though, unless we have great leadership happening for us. So here we go. What's the goal? If it's about leadership, how do we lead the conversations? If it's about leadership, how do we provide knowledge for those to follow us, and how do we move them forward? So it's engage one, develop one, that's the goal. Educate, and then provide continuity. So you have skill, knowledge, and attitude. So over the next 5 minutes or less, because we are a little behind time, so we're going to move fairly quickly through this. It's about effective club leadership. Your presidency began when you were nominated and elected. So don't think, well, I have a couple of 2 or 3 more months remaining. You do not. You need to be thinking as if you are the president of the club right now. I don't want you to step in. Some of you already are, but just know that you should be shifting your mind, your skill, your attitude towards the presidency, because you're it. So allow yourself now the opportunity to reimagine. Jennifer said she didn't like the word pivot anymore. That's fine. Reimagine what you and your clubs can look like and achieve. And we've already talked about what the 3 goals for this session is, just the importance of developing and updating your leadership skills, understanding the key issues that you may face, and of course, always looking for those best practices for club leadership. Authentic leaders are confident leaders, which you all have demonstrated because you're here. Okay, you put yourselves out there to be elected. You put yourself out there to take control and lead. So successful leaders, as you all know, you're going to build your team or your boards. If you have not done so, you need to be thinking about that right now. I know in my club, they're already reaching out and offering invitations to people to come on board, to be a part of the new administration coming up. You want to engage those members once that happens to get them going. But you also want to ensure that you have every active member in that club. Can we go back for just a second, please? Every active member in that club be a part of a committee. Send out a committee list so the people know what's available, what's ahead. They can start signing up now for the future. Give them a little teaser as to what to expect. Talk about succession planning. They will know then why it's important to sign up for those, those particular committees. And then talk about with your club, the history of the success of your club. If they better understand how successful they've been, they're more apt to be a part of being, a part of your club, continue to be a valuable committee member. Authentic leaders are competent leaders. Educate yourself. You're doing that, so that's not a big deal. But go back, make sure you understand and have read your bylaws and the Rotary Constitution. You all have been part of the Learning Institutes for RI as a part of CPETS. You heard Jennifer mention something about Toastmasters. If your club is not partnered with a Toastmaster club, it's a wonderful organization, and it is an opportunity to invite those new young leaders to be a part of that learning process to strengthen their skills, not just the young ones, but those older ones like myself who think young. Okay, it's an opportunity for all of us as well. Leadership continuity. You absolutely must have a well-run, organized club. So develop and articulate your club's vision. And so people know they're more apt to follow you if they understand what the vision is and the why, and then how you're going to get there. Develop that strategic plan. Prepare for the district governor's visit, because that's going to happen. Be ready for that. Work with the area governors as a resource. If you're not sure about something, the how-tos, pick up a phone or email. You can always reach out to them for assistance. You want to lead with energy. You want to lead with being engaging. You want to upload those new officers that you elect in the fall for continuity into the system by December 31st, 21. You want to upload your goals to Rotary Central. You want to make sure all your members are in DAC-BD and they have current information. Okay? You want to make sure that you are ready. Pay your dues on time, both at the district level and at the national level. You want to manage your district and global grants. And those can be a bit challenging sometimes, so you want to really dig in the weeds to get to know them. And anything you don't understand, just go to your Rotary Club manual. And then you want to reflect. This is probably the most important thing that you will want to do throughout your presidency. Reflection can be very valuable when it's used as a learning tool for your growth and development. So always reflect on what's going on, where you want to be, where and how. Develop questions that allow you to benchmark and reflect on that roadmap. It's called self-reflection. You do them on your jobs. It's not anything that's unusual. Are you the best representative of your community, your club rather, of your community? So whether it's your first or second time out in the role of leader, it's about your legacy. So you want to make sure, and I put a quote here, we do not learn from experience, we learn from reflecting on the experience, and that comes from John Dewey. So thank you for allowing us to invest in this weekend and learn together. Have a great year, guys, as club president.
Okay. You're going to hear next from Cheryl and Renee on the service projects. And then when they are concluded, we are going to be sending you to your break rooms. And the delay is just switching to a different disc for the slides.
Well, hello there. Renee again, your DGMD. I'm here to talk to you about the beginning of the service project slide, and I'm going to go real quick so we can start engaging. So some of our goals are to submit significant projects to the district database. This allows for more visibility and sharing ideas for future collaborative opportunities. So if people see what you're doing, they might want to get involved. Just like who was talking, Peter Murray was telling Andrew Wade, hey, let's work together. We'll conquer this together. That can also be done for service projects, but if people don't know what you're doing, they can't jump in. Expand to include new service project partners, some to serve and some that will help serve. So invest time to research partners that you've not engaged before now, new groups and projects to serve, and new collaborators. This will take a little bit of time on your part. This will take a little bit of effort. And if you have someone on your team that you know would be really good at this type of research, just give it to them, hand it off and say, get back to me when you've got some answers. And then you can break it out to the team and start working on it. Report on your projects in the district newsletter and Facebook posts. Share. I don't know if any of you are my Facebook friends or if you are on the district group on Facebook, but we've been talking about everything that's going on the past couple of days there and just sharing it. And I've had, my normal friends who aren't Rotarians commenting and saying, oh my gosh, that's really cool. And so it's kind of just bringing awareness in addition to sharing what your club is doing. So I think it's important that we share with the public and we share amongst ourselves. So I'm going to hand the second half over to Sheila.
Well, thank you so much. Engaging in at least one district-wide service project. One wonderful thing that is coming up starting July 1st is a brand new position on the district leadership team, a district service project lead. And that individual is Amelia Stansell. And she will provide opportunities for the clubs to participate in district efforts during the Rotary year, maybe food packing events and all things, or if you need suggestions on district-wide service projects or anything, Amelia would be a wonderful resource for you to keep in touch with and work with all year long. Make sure you apply for district grants and invest it back into your community. You can even partner with other Rotary clubs in your area or anywhere within the district or outside of our district, and broaden the name of the recognition of Rotary through building relationships in your communities and maybe getting your communities working together as well. From among all the clubs, 2 new vocational and 2 new environmental service projects. These can be tied to the district grants. You know, between 56 clubs in our district, bringing 4 new service projects into the district should be easy breezy. And we are here, we can help you with that. We can help get suggestions. There are resources all over the internet and within RI, the Rotary Showcase, to get ideas. Environmental, as you know, is the newest area of focus, so we can encourage exploration of ideas into this new area. Vocational ties into your propensity for mentorship opportunities, as well as touching on our education and literacy in focus areas. So with that, Pat, do you want to take it over?
Yes, so Kaz, and does everybody understand what we're going to be doing for the next 30 minutes in your breakout sessions? You look at the 2 that are being assigned to your group, and your facilitator will help you with that. And then just come up with some ideas of how you can move forward in that particular goal. Okay, well, from that group to add, if not, we'll move to group 4 because group 4 also had those goals. Renee and Gary, I think you're the spokesperson.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah,
Renee talked the entire time, so she just took
Not
up all the time. We couldn't even
Not
get
so.
No, we had a very lively discussion. You know, again, we were talking about the Johns, and we had like 3 or 4 Johns in our room, so it was hard to coordinate, but they all were very active. We started off with membership in regards to success stories. So we asked the different clubs, PEs, to talk about some of the things that they've done in their clubs recently. One of our Johns talked about how they used LinkedIn and connected to people in their own networks, professional networks. And he talked about how he connected to someone who was pretty, you know, notable in the area, and was focusing on public image as her career, and that he reached out to her via LinkedIn, and she said, actually, I've been thinking about joining Rotary. So they're actually in discussions about her potentially joining. So that's a great example of how we need to use our professional networks to try to talk about what we do and encourage and ask people to join us. Another area had to do with another one of our jobs from Tappahannock. He actually, their club has co-leaders for membership. So we were really focused more on recruitment, and they had one of the older members reach out to some of the prior members so that, you know, maybe they could be invited back, but also the current president, as well as the PE, they're going to be working on reaching out to new gen, right? So they're going to try to reach out to a younger demographics. And so they're really focused on that. In my club, we actually have been inviting speakers that are from our own community to speak in our Zoom format. And as a result, we've gotten a lot of people that were interested in joining, and we had 3 of our speakers become members recently. So that was fantastic. So think about recruitment in your own backyard in regards to speakers, but also members. And then we had another John said that, you know, this hybrid format has been really interesting. And I think we experienced this in our own club, where people who typically haven't been able to make it to the meetings, hybrid actually offers an opportunity for them to join us now when they couldn't before. So their club is reaching out to some of the people that may have left because they were not able to meet in person. And I think that's a great idea. And then Jake down in Fredericksburg talked about how we need to work as regional partners, our clubs. And every club has different cultures. But in his area, there's about 4 clubs, and we should just shop it around and collaborate in regards to making sure they come into the tent, right? And then they can figure out where in the tent that they are feeling the best about joining. So I think that's a great idea. In regards to foundation, we started off by talking about how we want to encourage everyone to have to invest and contribute personally directly to the foundation. We had a number of clubs that actually incorporate the foundation giving into the dues. So we had a number of clubs that actually have, on a quarterly basis, $25 going to RI, and then another $25 going to their local club foundations. And that's gone really well. Another idea was to make sure you talk about what the foundation does. A lot of people don't realize that we handle polio plus and other really major things. We had one of our participants was talking about how a friend of his that he'd met that had recently sold a company. When they were in discussions in regards to what Rotary does, it's potential that this person might, even as not a member of Rotary, may even consider investing $100,000 to Rotary's foundation. So you have to promote what we're doing, number one, but then not be afraid to ask for support and even at a financial level. Also, the idea of encouraging members that are retired. They may be taking distributions from their IRA or whatever it is. I'm too young for this, so I have no idea what I'm talking about, but their IRS distribution or whatever it is. And, there's tax advantages that they could secure by, taking some of the stuff that they may have to take a distribution and moving it over to the foundation. Another idea was had to do with the Paul Harris Fellowship points. And we looked at this as an opportunity to certainly encourage people to, elevate their level of giving and their consistency of giving, but also the point-wise, there were a number of clubs that were using it to bring other people up to the Paul Harris level, but also a number of clubs that actually use their points to recognize people who are not members of the Rotary Club, people who have been outstanding volunteers in the community, and recognizing them with the Paul Harris Fellowship, and then using that as a public image opportunity. Okay. We actually also had a discussion in regards to fundraisers because we think that that's important. We had a lot of different ideas going on, like the Chocolate Festival in McLean. We have Pig Roast and Oktoberfest and Smoke. We're actually, one club is talking about in April doing smoked pork curbside delivery fundraiser. These are all important ideas. And I'm sure there was another one, Croaker Festival. So these are all great ideas. They're all local and make all of our clubs unique. We actually also had a little discussion in regards to the triangle, right? We kind of inverted it a little bit from a servant leadership perspective. We thought, that we should try to identify one person to head up each area of those triangles within the club, and maybe even populate the triangle, each area of the triangle with pictures of the people to make it even more personal and make it something that is more visual for the benefit of our members. So it was a great conversation, and I really enjoyed listening to Renee talk for the entire time. No, but we had everyone contribute their ideas, and it was great, and it was fun to hang out with all these.
Thanks, Gary. Can we, okay, Deb?
Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Okay, thank you very much, Gary. If we can do team 2, room 2, and that was New Gen and leadership.
Now we need to go to Deborah because she needs to leave at 11:30.
Okay, Deborah, go.
All righty, and we had public image and service, and we took the opportunity to start looking at how we could reimagine or take advantage of this opportunity that we have to think differently about service. If we could imagine anything that we wanted to do, even if we couldn't do it, let's get it on paper, it's a stretch. What could we do? Tony and Daniil will provide our feedback.
Hey
Okay.
there, thanks. Yes, Deborah, thank you, appreciate that. So at our club, we really kind of think about public image and service as being like integrally linked together. And so on the public image side, we're very fortunate in that we have a super competent chair. He's a former journalist, and he handles a lot of the press releases. So every time we have an event, we'll make sure that we get that out to the local news organizations, which is great. Sometimes they pick us up, sometimes they don't. And we also have a social media person who's under the public image committee. And so with all of the events that we do, we'll have a pre-event post that gets distributed to the various different social media assets, as well as a during event post and then a post-event post. So that's really great for us, and we really get a lot of coverage and cover a lot of ground doing that. And then on the flip side, with the with service, what we're really focusing on is member-driven, done-in-a-day service events, and doing a lot of them. And so we're trying to do upwards of an event a month that is done by members. And what I've done is I've compiled a list of local organizations in Arlington on Charity Navigator, put them all in a spreadsheet, and I focused on organizations that already have all of the work done for events, and they just need volunteers, right? So what we can then do is have members go through and choose events that they're really passionate about, and then they quarterback those events and get together 6 to 10 Rotarians to field a team to do that event through that local organization. And then we combine that with the public image. And so now we've got 12 member-driven events a year that we can get 3 social media posts out of. So that's total 36 posts a year. So people are really seeing us on a weekly basis through on the public image end, and we're really engaging members with events that they care about. And so it makes the bring one kind of element much easier, because these members are all doing and hosting and responsible for events that they really, really care about. And so other individuals they know who may not be a part of Rotary may come to those events, they see the great work we're doing here at Rotary, and they stick around. So that's kind of what we're doing. I think we had another member who wanted to chime in, who was in our group, who had some ideas as well.
Well, Tony, I think you really covered it well. Just a couple things that I wanted to contribute was that in terms of the public image and the service side, in terms of promotion in general, a lot of times we struggle with technology, and I wanted to say, don't be afraid to ask for help. So whether that be to reach out to other Rotary organizations that or don't know, or even reaching out into your community. We are fortunate to have, just by chance, in our satellite club on the board, a gentleman who has his own IT company in the local area, and he gives back to nonprofits on a big scale. Yeah, he is a great resource. So I encourage everyone to go out and talk to folks like that, because they are looking for ways to help and may not know that you need it. The other part too is that working, again, local with your local media. Our local radio stations actually allow us to present what's called a Rotary Minute. And so every week we go on for a minute and talk about the great things that Rotary is doing. And it's fantastic, and it's a free promotion. Who gets free radio promotion? It's fantastic too. Of course, not discounting other media outlets as well who may be able to give you free promotion. And then just to piggyback even more so on the great work that Tony's group is doing, our satellite club, we didn't go through Charity Navigator to find out our service projects, but we did use our connections and did adopt a similar style, which was, quick and easy. Our members are in the middle of growing their young families. They're in the middle of their careers. They're super busy. And we make it really easy for them to participate in service projects because we piggyback like Tony does with organizations' existing projects. If we know that Friends of the Rappahannock already has a Crab Fest major fundraiser every year, why don't we go help them? They need boots on the ground. In working with our local community foundation, which everyone has one, I encourage you to find and talk with those folks. They can make you aware of those nonprofits that are out there. They're small and don't have a lot of funding and need boots on the ground to help them with their projects, or just need other types of support. And again, easy to do, but has a lot of impact and has allowed us to do at least one project a month. And we can adopt and pivot so easily. Oh, we're not supposed to say the word pivot, sorry, but allows us to go out there and make some change in the community in a very easy way with only 20 members, without having to laboriously plan a rather large project that can feel really overwhelming when people are already overwhelmed with their lives, and keeps them engaged.
Great.
That's all I had to say. Thank you.
Great. Anybody else for that group? All right. We'll move to 5, right? 5 also had New Gen, and
Let's go to Paula Kelly.
Okay, that's me.
okay, Paula.
I'd like to thank Curtis from the Bailey's Club. Curtis, are you on? I don't know if he's still with us.
Yep, I'm here.
Okay. What happened to me was I didn't get into my room right away, and so Curtis started the group for me. And what we ended up on New Gen most of the time. So what I'd like to do is do a little improvisation like Jennifer Jones did, and just add some of the leadership points that we went over earlier for the members who are listening. But anyway, on New Gen, I think that Curtis started off, were you starting off talking about discounts, Curtis, with some of the Rotary dues?
Yeah, there were two things. One was, what is New Gen, age group defined, and then was anyone providing a special incentive for new members, young members?
And I think you said that a couple of the clubs were. Is that right?
Correct.
Yeah. And so the idea here is that if you have the younger members or young people interested in your club, you can, and this is a club specific idea, offer a discounted membership, but not touch the district portion or the RI portion of that membership. So we talked about that a little bit. We also talked about RILA, and I know that the Bailey's Club is participating in RILA. Not all clubs are, but you do need to have an Interact club in order to work with RILA. And then we talked about the essay speech contest, and I know that this year there's a music component to that. It's really a great program. I know that Bailey's is participating, and a couple of the other clubs in the group are participating in the speech contest. It'll be a little different this year, being virtual, but really it's great to hear from the students. And we also talked about the fact that those students then are introduced to Rotary, and that's a great thing. And we talked a little bit about youth protection, and then we talked about the scholarship programs. And it was interesting hearing from our group. A couple of the clubs have big endowments, so they're able to give, like say, 6 scholarships. But another topic that came up was that some of their scholarships now are for trade schools. So this is becoming a new thing, and they're realizing that it's needed in the community. So there were 2 clubs in our session, in our room, that will get together on the types of scholarships they are offering to community colleges for the trade schools. And we talked a little bit about global and peace scholarships. Not all clubs participate in that program, but I talked about Fairfax, which has participated, and we talked about Interact clubs. And so as far as leadership goes, which I hope to get to, it seemed that Deborah pointed out a few things that you do need to list your Rotary officers by December 31st, 2021. Should be building your teams and building your board and engaging your members. And take some time to know your bylaws and the Rotary Constitution. And it's also good to talk about the history of the success in your club. So those were points that I hoped to make, but we ran out of time.
Okay. And that would then be group three is next, right?
Amelia?
I think it's up to group 6 that we're at now. And that was our group. And we talked about, and I'm going to go ahead because we didn't pick a scribe. And so I figured that I would just do that. We were on service and public image together. And I think the beauty
We need
is
folks
that
to
they go
mute.
so hand in hand.
Go ahead, Amelia.
Okay, so that image and service goes so well hand in hand. And we talked about the done in a day projects, which I talked about when we did our service program for pre-PETS. So I won't dive into that. We've covered a lot of great service ideas today already. But what we talked about is how do you turn that into public image? And I'm going to put a link in our in the chat here that I would highly recommend. Snag that and save it somewhere. It's actually a link to Zone 33 or zone. It's actually after the Zone 30 and 31 technically, but they shared on the Zone 33 website. But in there is a great tool to be able to create those cool memes that have like together we inspire, together we're people of action, together we transform, and so on. So when you're doing that service project, snap a quick picture with your phone, create the meme and share it. And that way you don't have to have the pictures of random Rotarians from around the world. You get real people from your own community and your own club. About the importance of having that published and having it be someone or a team of people who can really share that word of what you're doing, and not just that you do stuff, but exactly what you're doing and who's doing it. Also to me is dovetailing a little bit on what Sheila showed us the other night and a little bit yesterday, the importance, and it's all kind of blended together if it was in yesterday's or the other night. So I'll say it was Sheila the other night, but the ability to use StackDB and leveraging that easy story to be able to create your bulletin, to feed to your Facebook page, to feed to the district page, and so on. And I wish it had a way to be able to directly feed from there to your, excuse me, I said Facebook, but your bulletin to your website to the district. It'd be nice if there was a way to have it feed to Facebook and Instagram and all of that. There's not, but that's why you have the ability to just share it on there with what your updates are, as well as leveraging those memes. So that's all I had to share from our group. A lot of great conversation and good connections in there, and happy to be here and happy to share more for you guys.
Thank you. Okay. Where are we on groups? Did group 4, did we hear from group 3?
Yeah, Deb Jackson.
Okay, 4 we heard from, correct? So we need 5.
It's up to you. Shannon's back to RLI. You have to do group 5.
Oh, okay. Who wants to be the spokesperson for group 5? John? Is John still here?
I am. I was not aware of being the spokesperson, but and don't have notes. But yeah, we talked about. So anybody else, feel free to jump in too. We talked about new gen. I think we had clubs all over the place, from having Interact to not, but working on new ideas of connecting to high school service clubs that exist. connecting. In our case, we do have another club that and support the New Gen Peacemakers project. So trying to connect more to that and involving students in our club through that as well. And in leadership, again, we're just sort of caught up with where everybody was and helped the individual PEs from the individual clubs think through what they, we had some folks with pretty much all the positions filled. We had some with long-term treasurers and secretaries that make it a little easier, but we just talked about getting on top of that.
Lynn, you had a few additional contributions, and Vera as well.
Yes, we are blessed with an Interact Club, which is currently dormant, but we grew it from 5 kids to 17 in a brief period. So they are they're now chomping at the bit, ready to get back into it, not just because we offer a scholarship, but for other reasons. And we also have a tie with our Boy Scout troop, whom we sponsor. So we have a ready-made youth pool of ideas and activities that are great, and they are a huge blessing because they inspire us sometimes as we get a little fatigued, but they are definitely the future.
Right, and you talked about connecting your programs for your youth with the programs that you are also doing within the community to broaden their view. Vera, you made a few comments as well, if you're still with us. Okay.
I'm still here.
Oh, okay, Vera, go ahead. Are you having trouble? She may be having trouble with her internet. Okay, so you can see in a very short period of time, look at all the wonderful and different ideas all your groups had. And you can really see the interconnection of that. I have to say, I love the idea of taking the triangle, finding the advocate for that particular thing and putting their picture in the triangle. So you kind of got your triangle of leaders within the club. I thought that was cool. I thought a lot of things were wonderful. So with that, let's take a few minutes. If you have any more questions for us, and that's number one. But what I want to know is, what do you need from the district in order to make your club thrive? Because that's what we're here for. We leave no club behind. Our promise to you is no club shall be left behind, unless, of course, that's what you want to do. And we may come to your club dragging you, kicking and screaming into the new future. We are here to be your support, to help you with resources that are across the board. And no question to us is foolish. No opportunity to talk with you and support you is unwanted. So what do you need from us?
Yeah, I had a quick thought, Pat, on the social media level. It seems like, a lot of clubs are doing a lot of things kind of on their own piecemeal. But I think if we pool our resources at the district level, we might be able to pull in somebody who is an actual expert at social media marketing and implement a strategy that can then be copied and replicated by each individual club on a much easier level. For example, I own a business and I have a social media expert who handles my social media. And so we use a platform called HubSpot, and HubSpot allows you to schedule all of your posts, and then it pushes out your posts to multiple platforms, so like Instagram as well as Facebook, I think a couple others. And so, what would be really good at the district level is if we had a coherent strategy that each club could adopt that was influenced by someone who is an expert, a subject matter expert, rather than each of us kind of doing it the best we can.
Right.
That's something that would be really helpful on my end.
Right, that's a great idea.
Yeah, I'll piggyback on Tony. I mean, like right now, I gotta be in this afternoon with the E-Club, the Tintin, trying to get a Palestinians medical care in Israel. You know, we've been trying to work on that for, I mean, I thought it'd be great to have a, you know, something in the piece. Well, it's more of a medical, but you know, and anyway, that's going on. Fredericksburg did a COVID relief, but like we spend tens of thousands of dollars and don't really get the word out to kind of.
Correct. Andrew, as I said, if you do a service project and don't tell anybody, did it really happen?
Right.
And I used the example of 2 years ago, we were recognized by the Literacy Council of Northern Virginia for the collective acts of our clubs to the tune of $70,000 and many more times over on volunteer hours. And we knew nothing about it. So remember, we're here to talk about you to others, but to do that, you've got to tell, you got to share. What else? These are great ideas.
Pat?
Yes.
The district. Okay, go ahead.
No, the producers, they need to open this room for the next
Okay,
session.
I'm sorry. But John, get your idea in real quick and then we've got to go.
Thank you.
Could the district possibly provide a template media kit that the clubs could use?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Well, listen, as always, I've learned enormously from you. I do learn all the time. There is so much I don't know that it scares me to death, but I know together that we will all be able to collectively give ourselves that full set of information and expertise and ideas. So we promise you no more Zooms for this month. But starting April and May, we will have that, and we will do a planning session with you to get your membership goals into Club Central and to talk to you about your foundation goals and to get those in Club Central. So without any further ado, thank you. And I am so excited about next year.